The Lunaverse, Episode 27, A Crisis on Two Equestrias, by Rainbow Double Dash. Chapter 9, Every Little Thing She Does is Magic. By train, it took about 2 hours to reach Ponyville from Canterlot. Most Pegasi could generally manage the trip by wing alone in a matter of 4 hours of hard flying. A Pegasus chariot took longer, 5 hours. Luna and Celestia arrived at Canterlot within 10 minutes. I am not certain I am comfortable with leaving the remaining elements behind, Luna says. The two landed in Canterlot Gardens. She was looking around, taking in everything. Celestia wondered just how different her castle, her Canterlot, was than from Princess Luna's. 1,000 years was a very long time for changes to occur, and though their two worlds did seem to run in rough parallel, there were numerous differences. Celestia inclined her head to Luna's concern. If Discord breaks free, I would rather there be some distance between him and my little ponies. We would be able to buy some time, however. Sure, for them to prepare, and give our students a chance to repair the element of magic. Luna surged slightly as he trotted through the garden. Has he broken free in the past? Just last month. The element's passage to my students and their friends caused his prison to weaken enough for him to break free. She looked to Luna. Has he not yet in your world? No, Luna said, shaking her head. Although, thank you for letting me know. I can preempt him now. She stopped crying, shaking her head. You're kidding. You're kidding, right? The two that had reached Discord's statue within the Canterlot Garden. It was exactly as he had been, turned into a nondescript gray stone. A look of shock on his face, coiled and twisted as he tried to fight the elements binding to him in his current rocky form. Celestia had been sure to replace him exactly where he had been before, down to the very direction his eyes had been pointing. The only change from last time Celestia had seen the statue was the light layer of snow covering it. Celestia looked at Luna, who was staring with her mouth hanging slightly. What? She asked. In the garden, Luna said. You're keeping the personification of chaos, evil, and disharmony in the garden. Where else would I keep him? If he were to break free of the elements as his binding, he would easily break past any defenses I might put in place. Here at least he has easy to access, and keep an eye on him. I had him sealed in concrete, buried underground under 8 layers of protective walls regardless, Luna noted. My current concern is not so much the Discord breaking out under his power, as much as some pony trying to free him. Who would be so mad? There have been ponies. Celestia pressed her lips slightly together at that thought, as he set her horn glowing, examining his statue. Her eyes, nothing seemed to change. It remained, to all outward appearances, simply a garden ornament, exactly as it was supposed to appear to any magical examination. Luna finished her own examinations at the same time. Nothing, Celestia asked. Nothing, Luna confirmed. Excellent. In that case, there's some point I must see immediately. Celestia grimaced. I imagine that she may be in quite a fit right now over your stunt in Ponyville earlier. Celestia! The Princess of the Sun startled his examination, as Luna's mouth had not moved. In a second, Luna seemed to break apart in star stuff, a glowing sparkling blue mist, and retorted between Discord's statue. Celestia frowned slightly at that, as he turned and saw, galloping across the garden castle, Princess Luna, her sister. Celestia! Her Luna cried again, eyes wide. The moon! The light! It was not my doing, I know, Luna, Celestia said comfortably, stepping close and nuzzling her little sister. What's now? I know. The past few hours have been eventful. Luna shuddered slightly in relief at Celestia's reassurances, returning to nuzzle wholeheartedly. This close, it occurred to Celestia there were slight differences between her Luna and the visitor from another world. Her Luna was a little shorter, by several inches. Her stance was also different. More guarded, more on edge, more pensive. Her wings rarely settled at her side, but rather poised and ready to emote or carry the younger alicorn away. She also appeared to be in slightly better shape. Not that the otherworldly Luna was out of shape by any means, but rather she was clearly a pony who, while concerned for her appearance, had also grown relatively comfortable in her own position. By contrast, Luna, as Nightmare Moon, spent the better part of the past 1,000 years constantly training her mind and body for what she believed to be eventual combat with Celestia, and it showed. Celestia pulled away from Luna, looking her sister in the eye. Now, Luna, she said, behind me is a pony I want you to meet. I want you to promise me, however, that you will not overreact. Luna's eyes switched between Celestia's eyes. Tia! Now is merely the time for introductions. There is a being in Equestria who can override my control of the night. We must find that pony in... Luna paused as Celestia, slightly bemused, smiled as she frowned. The pony you speak of is the one you wish for me to meet, isn't it? Yes, he is. Princess of the Moon's face hardened somewhat. I would have words with her. Tia! I understand, though I assure you she means no harm. Celestia nodded and turned around, standing next to her sister, draping one wing over her. Please come out now. We don't want to draw this out. I am having second thoughts. A voice, notably not that of Princess Luna's, but magically changed to sound higher and more airy, sent from behind Discord's statue. Perhaps it would be better if I left. No, Luna insisted, stepping forward from her sister's wing, spraying her own wide. Thou hast violated my sovereign control over the night. Thy careless actions have doubtless caused mass panic across Equestria, and broke the faith of the citizenry in my person. Show thyself, thou might condemn thy actions if thou canst. Celestia went slightly, and Luna's lapsed into older language habits. She was still getting used to the modern form of the language, and early modern Equestrian was still more natural for her, especially if she was annoyed or concerned. Celestia almost tried back to Luna, wanting to protectively put her wing around her again. But she recognized that Luna, right now, felt almost violated. The night was very much part of her being, and still have that part of her dominated. Slowly, almost giddily, the blue mist that otherworldly Luna had drifted out from behind the statue. Luna's own eyes widened at the sight, even more when the mist coalesced into a pony shape, before finally solidifying and taking on definition and form, that of the otherworldly sovereign, Princess Luna. Celestia's sister balked, backing a step away from the sight. Pasta! No, Luna, Celestia corrected, drawing forward, placing a reassuring hoof on Luna's withers. It didn't help much as she retreated from Celestia, wings beating frantically. Nay, sister! She insisted. I swear to thee, I am the one, true Luna! Yes, Celestia confirmed. You are my sister, Luna. She is not. I do not doubt for a moment. She is not an impostor, because she is not going to be. Wherefore then does she wear my face? She turned to clear her counterpart, then back to her sister. Wherefore then does she wear my face? She turned to clear her counterpart, then back to her sister. Sister, I am in a foul mood right now, having been awoken by the raising of the night without my willing it, sensing a great magical calamity in Ponyville, unable to leave Catalot for fear of leaving ponies leaderless. Even I had so fewer than 3 ponies ask me if I had gone Nightmare Moon again. I demand an explanation for what is happening now. Celestia inclined her head, leaning in and nuzzling Luna, an action her sister accepted, if only reluctantly. Of course, Luna. She looked to her sister. Please, it might be better if you explained. The other Luna did not immediately respond, seeming to focus on Celestia's nuzzling on her sister than what was being said. When she noticed her counterpart glaring at her, however, she straightened herself. Very well, she said, looking to her doppelganger. 1,000 years ago. Ah, my eyes! Trixie cried out, putting her hose to her face. Yeah, that's what I mean when I said take it easy. Lunaverse said, rolling her eyes. You're channeling raw magic into them. Trixie was taking it easy, Trixie objected, rubbing her eyes. She has very precise control over her magic from years of practice. The two were sitting in front of Trixie's wagon, while Twilight Sparkle had retreated aside, doing something involving magic that Lunamoon, while somewhat interested in, was not interested enough to want to spend time with them. Unfortunately, that left her outside with Trixie as she guarded her wagon, following the location spell that Twilight had cast. The gem contained it was currently attached to Trixie's cape. Uh-huh, Lunamoon said, reaching out a hoof and moving one of Trixie's own away from her face. The only way she had been able to get on Trixie to stop acting haughty and full of herself had been to teach her the magic sight spell she knew. Come on, let me check and make sure you didn't make them explode or something. Trixie pouted at that, lowering her hose and glaring at her counterpart. Her eyes were watering slightly as she squinted at Lunamoon, but looked otherwise fine. though they had a slight pink glow from the magic she was channeling through them. She squinted at Lunamoon. You're glowing pink in your barrel and up to your horn. That's what unicorn magic will look like, Lunamoon explained. Earth ponies are kind of a dark green, with their magic spread across their whole bodies. And Pegasi are sky blue, with their magic concentrated along their wings and hooves. Trixie looked at her own hooves and then glanced around. And there's magic all over the place. I can see it, like threads of silver and gold. She reached out a hoof, clearly trying to poke at one such thread. Lunamoon knew that her hoof would pass through it. It's still an obstacle illusion. Lunamoon couldn't help but smile slightly. She made sure to make it seem smug, however, lest Trixie get any ideas as she stood up, horn glowing slightly. Okay, she said. Now look at me. Pay attention. Trixie did so, squinting slightly. Her eyes were still watering and turning a little red. She needed to get used to using the spell still, though Lunamoon had to grudgingly admit that being impressed, despite using the spell, she was still at the same time keeping her wagon moving. She resolved to make her lesson a quick one. Okay, see my cape? She asked, taking off her cape and throwing it off the wagon. Trixie leaned over, holding a hit on the forest floor, before looking back at Lunamoon, nodding. Lunamoon closed her eyes, thinking to one of the simplest spells she knew, and also a perfect one to demonstrate her magic sight with. She set her horn glowing, magically reaching out to her fallen cape. It was easy to find, given the several small but useful enchantments woven into it. She imagined her magic as a string, and one tied end around her horn, and the other end wrapped around her cape. Finally, she gave a slight tug. On the forest floor, her cape disappeared. It reappeared right in front of her inside a blue spear that popped after a second. She caught it before it could fall, and looked at Trixie. Did you see? Trixie considered, closing her own eyes as she took off her hat and set it off and down in front of her. Lunamoon raised an eyebrow at that. Was she actually starting small? After several long moments of concentration, tongue clenched in her teeth and visibly straining, her horn glowed. Her hat popped from reality, and then popped back into being in front of her, encased in a blank spear that swiftly disappeared. Trixie let out a long gasp at that, but smiled brightly as she purposely picked her hat back up and put it on her head. Lunamoon felt a slight itch from her cutie mark. She scratched it as she focused on Trixie and sat back down. You a king? She asked. Trixie is fine, she said, crossing her hooves, pointing and stopping, panting heavily. Her eyes still had a pink glow to them. She just had learned 2 new spells in as many minutes. How would you be? Not so bad, actually. Though I guess you don't nearly have the same amount of practice as I do. Still, you figured it out without exploding your eyeballs. So I guess that means you're not beyond hope. Trixie harumphed. Trixie has not had an Alicorn teaching her the nuances of magic for 10 years. But she has the same potential as you. Now since she knows how to see magic, she can realize that potential, and she shall do it without letting herself go. What? As Trixie mentioned before, she said, standing delicately, extending a front and rear hoof, striking a pose. Trixie has a finely toned musculature from years of wandering the roads of Equestria. Indeed, for the longest time, Trixie had to pull her wagon, like a common earth pony. But you're just a little chubby. I am not. In fact, I'll have you know that 1, I exercise every week with raindrops, and 2, I am almost exactly an average weight for my height and length. Trixie grinned. Almost, she echoed. Lunamoon stood. I take some valuable time to try and teach you some magic, and you call me fat! Trixie tapped a hoof to her mouth. More comfortable, Trixie would say. Oh, I am going to kill you! A voice shouted from within the wagon. Its top was thrown open, and Sparkle came stomping out. Teeth gritted as he passed between the 2 Trixies. She turned around slowly, pointing her arm at Twilight. Clover the Clever was a hack! Sparkle sighed, as Trixie and Lunamoon looked at her, then to each other in confusion. Trixie couldn't do it for long. She still had her magic sight active, and Twilight and Sparkle were especially bright, forcing her to look away. All she did was compile what Starsfield's Period had written, and added in mostly useless notes on how spells were created. Her only contribution to magic was 1 spell that can't even be cast without a Pegasus and an Earth Pony to serve as a focus. And Clover's insights into the spell-making process were invaluable, Twilight countered. Half of what Starswell wrote would be indecipherable without Clover, cleaning up his notes and journals and reconstructing a lot of his matrices. Starswell may have been the most important conjurer of the pre-classical era, but he was terrible at showing his work! Little Moon rolled her eyes. Academic problems, she nodded quietly, preemptively covering her ears and closing her eyes, sighing. Well, at least it wasn't just her and Trixie who couldn't get along. That was then something leaped from a nearby tree, landed beside a wagon, and showed out with a deep blue telekinesis. Lulamoon, Sparkle, Trixie, Twilight, and the wagon all went flying sideways, screaming. The pony grinned brightly as she charged after the wagon she had shoved. It had landed on its side, a thick tangle of pine bushes. She skipped forward a few feet, and then leaped and landed atop the fallen side of the wagon, spinning in place on the front hoof as she looked around her quarry. She spotted Twilight first, climbing behind the wagon's door in surprise, looking bewildered, a little bruised but unhurt. The pony let out a laugh of glee as she leapt through the air, spinning in place and landing in front of Twilight, horn glowing. Before Twilight could react, there was a series of pops around her. She found herself trapped in a square of 4 doors of different colors that had sprung from being into nothingness. The pony smiled as, with a flick of her head, she opened all the doors inwards at the same time. She heard Twilight cry out for being struck on all sides. Ha! The pony laughed, hitting Twilight again, then a third time. She would have continued for some time, but Trixie appeared then, charging out from behind the wagon, eyes wide and glowing pink. The pony let out a whoop of glee at the sight of her other target. Horn glowing bright, she gathered fire at the tip of her horn and then threw it. Trixie let out a yelp of surprise, ducking the fireball and scampering away and out of sight, while several more fireballs followed. The pony forgot about Twilight as she charged after Trixie, rounding the fallen wagon. She caught a glimpse of Trixie's tail, disappearing behind the wagon's next side. After a second, however, Twilight and Trixie ran out from their hiding spots. Trixie's eyes no longer glowing blue. Twilight had probably teleported from her door prison. Trixie and Twilight looked at between each other, grimacing, before Twilight's horn glowed a bright lavender. A wall of snow appeared over the pony's head and fell towards her. She ducked down, covering her head as the snow landed, grunting with the force from the impact. In a moment, however, she was standing again, body glowing with heat and the snow melting off of her. The pony leaped forward, front hoof spread wide. When she landed, her body shimmered, and 2 of her seemed to step out from the same pony to complete the charge. One of her slammed into Twilight, sending her tumbling and wriggling away into a bush. Trixie meanwhile smirked, apparently deciding to ignore the other, thinking it was fake as he readied a spell. She was taken for surprise when that pony body tipped to her as well, slamming her against the fallen wagon's roof. She gasped in pain and fell to her knees and hocks. Both copies of the pony were dragged together after a moment, slamming and tearing each other, and back into a single hole again. She gasped as a sensation, shivering slightly. It was painful, yet strangely fun, like blood rushing back into the limb that had fallen to sleep. She didn't have time to focus on it, however, as Twilight appeared behind again, finally showing her bruises from the door attack. Her horn glowed bright as she picked up all the nearby rocks, branches, and even dirt, hurling it forward as hard as she could. The pony simply caught it in her own telekinesis, and smiled as he packed everything together in a 4-foot wall ball of pain and threw it back. Twilight looked out of the way, but still caught some of it in a glance across her flank, causing her to stumble. She audibly growled from where she had landed, horn glowing an angry lavender as she saw a beam of pure magic at the pony. The pony didn't dodge quickly enough. The beam of magic sent her reeling to her knees, nearly paralyzing her. Nearly. She laughed out loud at feeling the horn glowing brightly, sending a burst of magic at Twilight that sent her tumbling away. The pony laughed, a laugh that only died when Trixie, eyes glowing pink once again for some reason, leaped and landed on her back. The pony was almost forced to the ground, but began bucking like a bronco, squeaking her head and whinnying as he did so. Trixie was thrown from her back into the ground. The pony was on her in an instant, wrapping a hoof around her tail, dragging Trixie across the forest floor. The pony cried out in pain as she was dragged across the wagon, lifted Trixie up telekinetically, and headbutted her, careful as to not include her horn in the process. Trixie and the pony both stumbled away, dazed, but the pony always shook her head and enjoyed the feeling. She never headbutted any pony after all, while Trixie collapsed next to Trixie. Wait, what? The pony shook her head again, putting one hoof to her head and deciding that no matter how fun the situation was, so you avoid headbutts from now on to cut down on the double vision. The double vision was not helped when Twilight appeared twice in front of her, each one with their horns glowing bright as lavender as they readied their spell. The double vision was thus killing the fun, though. Growling, she stopped their incoming spells, whatever they were, and telekinetically grabbed each Twilight, pulling them forward with all her might as she turned around, raised her hind hooves, and bucked at each one as they came forward, figuring she was bound to hit the real one this way. She had not expected both blows to solidly connect, nor to hear two distinct cries of pain. The pony on nerve was enough to trot away several prances before looking back at her battle. One Trixie was nearly unconscious, reeling with a bloody muzzle from the headbutt she had been on the receiving end of. Another was banged up and shaking her head, but standing. Both Twilights were on the ground, clutching at their stomachs where they had been bucked, but one of them, somewhat more bruised, was taking it harder, while the other had managed to move into a sitting position, breathing heavily. "Two Twilights," the pony said out. "Two Trixies." She considered. It's like heartwarming has come early. Sparkle was in a considerable amount of pain, and was fairly confident if it were not for the adrenaline high she was in the process of kicking in, she would have thrown up, passed out, or both from the buck she received. Sparkle stumbled, getting onto sinking legs as the pony had overturned Trixie's cart, attacked him, and pranced and spun into place happily, like a foal being told they were going on a trip to Coyote El Bio. The pony was about her height, with deep blue fur, almost tinged purple, and almost more obviously purple mane and tail. Lara and two of which were wild and unkempt. Her eyes were a solid purple, lacking any kind of pupil. But Sparkle's eyes were mostly drawn to the pony's cutie mark, a crescent-shaped deep blue nebula, with a six-pointed purple star set between the horns of the crescent, and the colors were much darker. But casting a glance at her own cutie mark, and that of Trixie Lunamoon's, "Who," Sparkle breathed, "are you?" The pony stopped prancing around in place, to look at Sparkle with a wide smile. A test too wide. "The dark and omnipotent Trixie!" Sparkle started, but stared on the other ponies in utter confusion. The pony noticed their confusion, and seeing that in his back pedal. "It is not my name," she exclaimed, pointing a hoof at Sparkle. "You won't call me that. It's not my name. I'm a—" She paused, looking away from them, the brow furrowing and her mouth hanging open. She was breathing heavily from the fight she started. Sparkle nodded. After a moment, she looked to Sparkle. "My name doesn't matter," she exclaimed, "because I am dark and omnipotent, and I'm going to kill you!" She paused, pulling a hoof to her mouth. "Dark omnipotence, omnipotent darkness, not bad names. Don't really say it right now." Sparkle grunted, calling on her magic. The pony saw and her orange horn glowed. Black, not the deep blue until it had been glowing earlier. Sparkle lashed out with a bolt of lightning. The pony, meanwhile, conjured a jet-black orb in front of her, attached to her horn by a long strand of black magic. The lightning hit the black orb and did not emerge from the other side. The pony smirked, shoved her head forward. The black orb shot towards Sparkle at the same time, closing in on and enveloping her before she could react. She screamed. The orb wasn't hot or cold. It wasn't wet or dry. It wasn't physical. It wasn't anything. It was like a ball of pure, absolute nothingness enclosing her, trying to breathe as hard as she could make Sparkle a part of it. She couldn't see, couldn't hear, couldn't smell, couldn't breathe. Sparkle tried to teleport out of it, but found she couldn't. She couldn't do anything magical while within the orb, in fact. She riffled through the 6 spells in succession, the last being a simple attempt to make her horn glow. But they all failed. Worse than failed. In fact, they'd never been able to take shape in the first place. The spear withdrew. Sparkle let out a gasp as she fell to her knees, tears in her eyes. The pony who had attacked him smiled brightly. Sparkle could feel her magic returning to her. She could use it again, but the pony was conjuring more orbs of utter blackness, surrounding all of them with them on all sides, building a chaotic space of bubbles of nothing. "My special talent," she said, "is anti-magic. Now isn't that the scariest thing you've ever heard?" "Why are you attacking us?" Lulamoon asked, picking herself up fully and helping Trixie up as best she could. The pony looked at Lulamoon with stunned surprise, before twisting into a leering smile. "Because you made me, Trixie," she explained, as though her were talking to a foal. "You and Twilight, and I suppose Trixie and Twilight as well, Her eyes wide as he perked up. I need more of you. More Trixies. More Twilights. Oh, please say yes. Twilight picked herself up and trotted over to Sparkle, placing a hoof on her withers, trying to calm her down. She glared at the pony. What do you mean, we made you? She demanded. Oh, Twilight, the pony said, shaking her head, as the horn continued to pulse with black magic and create more orbs of anti-magic. Do you really suppose that crocodile magic couldn't have consequences? The four recoiled at that. We freed you? Twilight asked. No, you created me, the pony said. I'm not some eldritch abomination from the time. I'm 6 hours old, but it gets even better. She pointed to Trixie, smiling. The four ponies looked at her, at last remembering the location-finding spell encased in a gemstone Twilight had created, attached to Trixie's cape. The light had gone out, but the pony stomped her hoof, started up again. The gem pointed right at the pony, and more specifically her cutie mark. I'm also the element of magic, she said, brushing one hoof against her coat. I'm all the bile and hatred and doubt that you four felt, put upon a suit, conjured up by the dying embers of the shattered element, and given life and sentience. Without you, I wouldn't exist. Sparkle's heart skipped a beat at that, as the pony threw her head back and laughed. The globes of anti-magic began to spin around slowly. Whenever they passed through a tree or rock, that thing seemed to grow lesser, less alive, less colorful, less real. You're going to die, the pony said, skipping around a few times. The good news is, I'm pretty sure I had to kill all four of you simultaneously. So let me quick. I'm thinking, crested in a falling wagon. The pony's horn stopped glowing black, referring to its deep blue coloration, as the wagon behind the four of them lifted up off the ground. The four of them also found themselves seized by telekinesis, forced together in one spot, while they're surrounded by orbs of anti-magic. The orbs seemed to sap at every spell they tried to cast. When they weren't early prevented from conjuring magic, Sparkle had been inside one, but none of their spells had any effect. Wait! Sparkle called out, struggling to escape from the telekinesis that held her. She couldn't, however, and her eyes were locked on the wagon hovering above them, rising ever higher in the air. Wait, you don't have to do this. Of course not, idiot, but I want to. You have to know this is wrong. I can't believe the element of magic would create something so evil! Twilight tried. The pony glared. Evil, she demanded. Evil? Am I evil just because I want to kill you? Am I evil just because I would rather tear you limb from limb than watch you bleed out one at a time? I'm sadly sad I won't be able to. I am evil just because I am done here. I'm going to go to Ponyville and slaughter every pony you four had ever loved out of pure spite. Yes? Twilight exclaimed. The pony smiled brightened. Excellent, she declared happily. I like knowing my place in the world. So few ponies do. Any last words from any of you? Trixie, you've been quiet. Sparkle looked at Trixie, eyes wide. The poor mare had been utterly outclassed by the other three of them from the beginning. All had been dragged into the situation. Her muscles seemed to stop bleeding. At least, she stood up and stepped away from Trixie Lulaboon. Trixie has 3 things to say, she exclaimed. Goody! I love them. Firstly, you owe me a new wagon, you psychopath! Second, she looked between Twilight and Sparkle. Library, you understand? Library. And finally, Trixie must compliment you on your anti-magic spears. They are canceling our magic magnificently. But there's one problem. The dear pony smiled, clawing closer to the floor. Oh, the great and powerful Trixie doesn't need new spells to do magic. Trixie reached into her cape with one hoof, drew her hoof forward. A series of small capsules fell to the ground at the pony's feet, then exploded into smoke. The pony's eyes widened, and she whinnied on the surprise, whirring back into her hind hoofs, and letting her concentration slip. She lost her grip on the wagon overhead, and remained in place just for a moment before beginning to fall. The anti-magic spears had also concentrated and dissipated into nothingness. Sparkle stared in shock, frozen for an instant, then felt hooves closing about her neck. Trixie saw Trixie grabbing her, realized she meant by library. Even as Twilight grabbed Lulamoon, a horn already glowing lavender, Sparkle snapped her eyes shut, the thought of Twilight's library back in Ponyville, and teleported. Even as he did, she heard the pony who tried to kill them scream, No, you don't! Something pulled on Sparkle even as he tried to teleport. For the briefest moment, she thought she saw Twilight's library. The next moment, everything went black. And when the darkness cleared, Sparkle found herself not looking at the comforting surroundings of books and wood, perhaps a warm fireplace. Instead, she found herself 4,000 feet in the air over the ever-free forest, and falling fast.